Welcome back to JT on the Go. Today we are going to tour the Doge's Palace in Venice, Italy. When booking to visit Doge's Palace, the cheapest price is 30 euros. It costs 56 euros for a guided tour. Not only you will see the palace the Venetian Empire once ruled from, you will also see the neighboring prisons just across the canal. The best times to visit the Doge's Palace are early in the morning, just after opening hours on weekdays, or later in the afternoon when the crowds tend to thin out. The Doge's palace was built in the 10th century and continuing into the 1700s. The palace is where the Venetian Empire ruled during their time from the 8th century until 1797 when it was conquered by Napoleon Bonaparte from France. Like any other palace in Europe, the Doge's palace is elaborately decorated, with each room serving a different purpose. Venetians ruled most of the Adriatic and Dalmatian coasts, and the coastlines of present-day Montenegro, Albania, Greece, and parts of Cyprus. The Room of the Four Doors is one of the most remarkable public spaces in the Doge's palace. The Sala delle Quattro Porte serves as a passageway into the meeting rooms of Venice's most powerful political bodies. Venice did not exactly have much land, so it was basically a trading empire because it controlled several bodies of water at a time when sea transportation was heavily relied upon. The next room we are entering is the Senate Hall, where colleagues would be addressed, full of debates, and where Venetian laws were passed. In conclusion, this room is where the senators would meet. Financial and political affairs were overseen here, especially in certain areas like manufacturing, industries, trade, and foreign policies. You can tell that each room is huge. They did this on purpose to show power and wealth of the ruling monarch. The Doge's Palace is also another landmark featured in the Italy Pavilion at Epcot's World Showcase in Walt Disney World. In certain parts of your visit, you will be able to peek out of the window for a view of Venice. When Napoleon conquered the Venetian Empire, he dissolved it and handed over most of its territory, including the city of Venice, to the Austrian Empire as part of the Treaty of Campo Formio, marking the end of nearly 1100 years of Venetian independence. After Napoleon was defeated, ending the Napoleonic Wars, Venice belonged to the Austrian Empire until it became part of Italy during Italy's unification in 1866, which was a year before the Austrian Empire became the Austro-Hungarian Empire that fought Italy in World War I. The room we just entered is the first room on this floor dedicated to the administration of justice. While parts of the Doge's palace are where key leaders of the Venetian government met, there are rooms that celebrated its power. What we see here is a collection of knight armor and other weapons. They were keeping an eye on the palace and protecting it and government members from enemy threats. It's time to continue our tour. It turns out there are multiple rooms of the palace showcasing fighting equipment used during this time. The items in this room were from the 15th and 17th centuries, all kept safe in glass boxes so tourists can see them and learn about the history of Venice. This room is dedicated to the military giant of the Serenissima, Marcantonio Barragadin, a hero and martyr in the wars against the Turks. From here, we have a great view of the Grand Canal, one of Venice's busiest waterways by St. Mark's Square. You can also see the view 360 degrees from St. Mark's Bell Tower. The Doge's Palace has a total of 3 levels, connected by wide and not so steep stairs. It would be very easy to get disoriented here due to low lighting. The paintings that we see all over the Doge's Palace are here to remind locals of the Venetian Empire of their power and greatness. This hall of the Great Council has enough space for 2,500 nobles to meet. This room is also home to the largest oil painting anywhere named Paradise. It reminds lawmakers that creating wise laws would have them in the company of 500 saints. It was only this room I found to be the least crowded because of its space compared to the other rooms. The Quarantina Civil Nuova was the judicial body responsible for civil cases on the mainland, unlike the Quarantina Civil Vecchia, which dealt with civil cases within the lagoon territories. There are certain events the Doge's Palace is used for today. One event is from the Painted Gold to El Greco exhibition on Venetian/Cretan painting, which will take place from April 30th to September 28th, 2025. Now we are traveling to another point to check out art in a few other rooms. Housing one of the 3 councils of 40, the highest appeal courts in the Venetian Republic. This is another room that was used in the administration of justice. We're leaving the palace to explore the neighboring prison cells on the other side of the canal. The bridge we are on is the Bridge of Sighs. It connected the palace to the palace's prison. Prisoners here always try to look out the windows of the prison to enjoy Venetian beauty before being taken to their cell. As you can see, the hallways in this prison are very narrow. The reason why the Doge's palace had a prison right next door to it is because the palace was the seat of government and justice for the Venetian Republic. Prisoners were housed here from the 16th to 18th centuries. Commoners and nobles were held here. A lot of the prisons are dark to the point where you can't see anything. This has been classified as a bit of a harsh punishment, being wasted away with beauty outside. In a few moments, we will be exploring the outside of the building that housed the inmates. It takes a second for the eyes to adjust to the sunlight after being in the prison. The type of weather you want when visiting Venice. What we see here is a museum with some artifacts. The artifacts are craftworks that were all recovered in the course of restoration and excavation work in Venice and its lagoon. Time to head back over to the palace to finish our tour. The state censors were set up in 1517 by Marco Foscari di Giovanni, a cousin of Doge Andrea Gritti and grandson of the great Francesco Foscaro. This particular state advocacy department dates from the 12th century. The three members of the Avogadori were the figures who safeguarded the very principle of legality, making sure that the laws were applied correctly. Here's an angle of what the prisons look like. Appears that some have a view of Venice's beauty. The last room we're touring was responsible for recruiting the crews necessary for Venice's war galleys, which was no easy task given to the large number of people required by the city's expensive and powerful fleet. In conclusion, the Doge's Palace is a great place to come and learn about Venetian history despite it being a long tour. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and follow my Instagram account for more JT on the Go videos. When booking a trip to Europe, Italy can be one of your top options for a great European experience. Thanks for watching.